Welcome to Solve This Murder. I'm your detective, Dani.
And I'm your crime scene criminal and witnesses, Bill. This is part 4 of the Furtive Fiend.
In part 3, I discovered that the sigil I'd been seeing was related to Elantiel, a demon of wealth.
Dani also went back to the crime scene, found a disorganized cupboard full of occult objects inside the kitchen, and a key on the inside of the main door.
And after following a trail of blood from inside the building to outside and around the corner, I discovered a double-bladed knife discarded in a bin.
Dani, it's been some time since I first said you found a double blade. Do you know what you're looking at?
So I didn't at first. The moment that you said it, I panicked and my brain went to a Darth Maul-style weapon.
No.
But the instant I started drawing it, I realized, oh, no, wait, this is exactly the bunny ears finger tool that I was describing way back in episode 1.
Yes, effectively, it's like if you have a handle and a knife blade would usually come out, take that knife blade, offset it a little bit to the right, and add a second one next to it.
Exactly.
Yeah, something like that is fine.
A very pointy fork.
It does look to you like it could have caused the wounds that you found on the body
And it's
of
all
Victoria Buckland.
nasty and bloodied, right?
It is nasty and bloodied.
All right, well, with my gloves still on, I should probably take that and get it seen to.
Sure.
How are my lab boys doing? I've been making copious use of them.
What have you asked them for? You asked them for an analysis of the teapot.
Yes, this should be some stuff that I kept notes of. They've got the body now, and they are working hard to sift through blood versus paint.
Yes. I believe you also were looking for video footage.
That's right. There was an ATM across the street that I was interested in. Yes, all of these things. Okay, so when I call up one of them to take this knife off my hands...
Yep, that's our third show, Take This Knife.
I'll ask them how their procedures are doing.
All right.
How are they managing?
You head down to the police headquarters.
They don't come to me? Okay.
They come.
Fine.
Okay, there's a knock at the door of your office.
Thank you.
And in comes a character who we're going to... No, you know what? In comes... Who's that cop that we invented before? Johnny Cool? I can't remember, so I guess we can't use him.
Lieutenant Cool.
Lieutenant Cool.
He's making his way up in the world.
Comes in and he
Slowly,
says...
but surely.
All right, we got the results for a couple of tests that you needed us to do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what do you need? Do you have a preference for what you want? I've got various news for you. So, what do you want to hear?
Let's go with the simplest first. Tell me about the teapot.
All right, teapot. Yeah, we had a look at the pot. So as you thought, that's not tea. You really shouldn't be drinking this kind of stuff. I'm not saying you were. I'm saying you shouldn't.
I inhaled a lot of it. Is that a problem?
No, you'll be fine. If you feel fine, you are fine. Don't worry about it.
Oh God.
So we had
the hypochondriac's worst nightmare.
We had a look at it. We analyzed what it was, and I won't bore you with the exact kind of biological names of all the things that are inside this. Suffice to say, this is like an incapacitant kind of thing. Whoever's drunk this tea, I'd expect him to be a bit kind of out of it, a bit very kind of sleepy, not completely knocked out or anything, but zonked, is what I'm saying. Like,
right.
Like,
does it feel like it would be something that would work really quickly, or would it take a while?
I mean, maybe 10, 15 minutes, maybe.
Okay, that's pretty quick.
You get a pretty sizable effect. You give this to someone and you can, that's it. You've overpowered them at that point.
Interesting. So now I got to figure out, did she drink it or did she make it for someone else? Intriguing stuff.
Hey, that's what I give. I give intriguing stuff. That's why they made me lieutenant. What else did you need to know? But we had a look at the body. It doesn't look like there's anything new based on your initial observations. I mean, yeah, there's not some kind of secret other cause of death. She was cut through the torso by some kind of crazy double knife. I have no idea what that would even look like. Look, we did have a look at the blood. The only thing that was actually paint was some of the stuff on her hands. The rest is blood. That's blood on her pants pockets. That's blood on her chest. Okay. That's a pool of blood. There was no other paint, but yeah, some flecks on the hands.
Understood. And where are we at on that footage? I was hoping for weeks of footage.
Oh, you wanted weeks of footage? Well, you
Now,
know.
I know that's not quite your job. If I need to ask someone higher up, then I can.
Hey, if you need to ask anyone, it's someone lower down. Someone who has to still deal with the scrolling through footage. For
Right,
you.
right.
But no, we had a look. We got through, and we can give you the footage here. We've got it here on this Universal serial bus.
Amazing.
If you'd like to take that.
All right, will do.
All right, I'll leave you to look through it. We didn't want to go through too much. We made sure it was all we requisitioned, but we figured you could have the first look at it.
Yeah, was there as much as I was hoping for? Did they keep all of their old footage, or is there only like a day?
Look, they don't have a huge amount, but they had more than you'd expect. They had about a week's worth of footage.
That is acceptable, I guess.
Yeah. We might be able to get more, but we'd have to send a whole bunch of requisitions and things to various central servers interstate. It's a whole big thing.
All those fancy words.
Yeah. You know, when it comes to jurisdictional stuff, this thing's kind of confusing. But at least from this particular location, we can get a week's worth for you.
Lovely.
All right, is there anything else you need from me?
Oh, I forgot to give you the knife.
Oh, my God. Okay, I know what it looks like now. Yeah. What, you want fingerprints or something?
Might as well do what you can.
Where'd you find it?
In the garbage.
Oh, okay. Well, look, chances are things have been wiped off even just by the general movement of garbage and things. But we'll do our best. We'll see what we can do. Hey, maybe we got 2 types of blood on it or something. I don't know. All right, we'll have a look. And did you ever give any thoughts to my offer? We were going to get dinner. You said you'd think about it, and you didn't call me back. That was 2 years ago, so I don't know where we're at now.
No, that's very normal for me.
Okay, well, you keep thinking. All right, bye. And he leaves.
Oh, dear. Backstory. All right, do I want to be sitting down watching this? Will this be...
You can go through the tape. Is there anything in particular looking for? Obviously, as you start to go through it, you can't watch it in real time. You'd be here for a week.
What sort of view do I... What sort of angle am I getting from this camera? Yeah, sure.
So this, if you remember from the first episode, was from an ATM across the street from where you were.
Yeah.
So it's not
my
good
assumption
footage.
is that it won't be the most helpful angle in the world. I don't even know how far across a street it might reach, but I'm hoping it'll give something.
So obviously this is a camera that is designed to look at the faces of the people using the ATM. Anything it gets other than that is bonus for you. But that's all you're looking at. Watching the faces of people at this ATM, there's no one you recognize. There's no one of note. You don't see Victoria Buckland using the ATM or anything like that. No one walking up to the ATM going, "Time to kill a woman," or anything like that. But opposite, you can see a little bit of the doorway into the building.
Oh, lovely.
You can see a little bit of the building. So sort of people coming from one direction you might be able to see. And you can see somewhere near like you can see like a little bit of people like going to the kiosk where you saw Rubenberg and this sort of fisheye lens. Nothing brilliant in terms of like super clear detail in any of these things. But you can see quite a few elements.
No, this sounds like a dead end. I should chuck it.
Yeah, don't even look.
It is true that I don't have a good idea of what I was looking for. Depending on how much of the building I could see, I could find out like how many people seem to go in at any certain time. Like, I don't know. I presumably have seen Victoria's shoes. Can I see any shoes that resemble hers on through the night that we suspect that the murder happened?
To be honest, shoes is maybe a little bit harder than, say, hair.
Oh,
right?
God.
From this angle. What you can see, as you look through the last week's worth of comings and goings, you see a few things. Firstly, maybe twice in the first couple days of the footage, you see a few people approaching the building who look like they're going inside. Again, it's hard to tell. You don't have a beautifully clear shot of the door, but you see men in suits, one of which might reach down to pull something out of their pocket as they approach the doorway to this building.
Okay.
They look like serious sort of men. They look well-dressed, fancy.
Sure.
And both times, there is also a woman with them. Now, you can't get very clear defining characteristics. You don't see any specific shoes or...
fair hair, though?
You do see it is fair-haired, a blonde woman.
Victoria was fair-haired.
Well-dressed. Again, sometimes generally dressed in like a suit, once wearing clothes that you might say was similar to what she was found in. Possibly the same pair of pants, but it could be any woman with any kind of pair of pants that were that color. So you do notice that. A couple of these sort of larger groups of people entering within those, maybe 4 to 7 days before the murder.
Then let's skip straight to the night that we assume that this happened. So we arrived early in the morning. A night happened, presumably not as many people wandering around at night. So I feel like I just have to sit there and at ×4 speed.
Sure.
Let's see what happens through that night. Do I see her?
On that night, you don't see anybody approach the building or going inside. You're not sure if possibly that's just because they came from the other way. If they'd come from the, say, west side of the building, you wouldn't see them in this footage.
Was that the side that I followed the blood off to? The side that I can't see?
Oh. You followed the blood eastward from this door. You see 2 things on this night. One, approaching much closer to the camera, clearly on the camera side of the street. As you're going through in ×4 speed, you see this figure, like it's noticeable because they stop moving for a fairly long amount of time. So they sort of are stationary on your camera for a little bit longer than you would think. You see a figure just watching the front door from across the street.
Right.
From behind, you can see it's a figure in a large trench coat and a hat, quite a tall and imposing figure.
Excellent.
But eventually, they
get out of my way.
Move out of the way. You keep watching, and then you see a figure leave the building. You see them reach out with their hand, lean it on the balustrade where you saw there was blood. You see them coming, walking off. You might see something in their hand. You're not sure. Again, the detail isn't good. And again, you can't pick up clearly defining features, except you do notice their hair, because it's a woman with blonde hair.
Intriguing. I was worried that you were going to say that. But I hadn't seen anybody go in at that point. That could have just been because they come from the other way, or it could have been that they were in there for much longer than I had suspected. Fascinating. And that's probably the last thing of interest before all the cops start rolling up.
The next thing you see is big giant man
it's me!
going, oh my God, I gotta call the cops. And then cops arriving, and then you arriving. And then you pointing at the ATM and Simba jogging over. And that's the end of the footage.
Weird. How did the bank know to stop recording then?
No, Lieutenant Cool just cut it because he thought that was a good moment to cut.
Okay, I've got a lot of questions forming right now.
Ask any that you think are relevant to me or the audience.
Let's see what sorts of questions that I have right now. Because I got to be careful here. It seems like the biggest question right now is what I've written down as woman in/woman out. Apparently, presuming that Victoria is indeed during this footage dead the whole time, there's another woman in the picture. So now I've got to figure out who this is. 2, on Victoria's life. What's up with this new client stuff that's happening? And 3, what about some of these meetings that she's been having with people who don't seem to be clients? Both of these seem to be on the cards. Not to mention the fact that bunches of them on and off have been cancelled here and there. Reason being seems to be that she was afraid of something. Tell me exactly who and what she was afraid of. Possibly our big old shadowy man that we've discovered. Who is this man? Is it the same man every time? Like, is the one in front of the ATM the same one who was sitting at Rubens, the same one that Assistant Hayden Flincham may have seen around their building at some point? All the same man, all different men. From there, we've got this casino business. What was Victoria doing with the casino? Was it just actually for fun and occasionally for business? Was she doing particularly well, particularly badly in that? We know that money has certainly been an up and down sort of thing and seems to be a key interest to this Brotherhood of Prosperity, one can only assume. And a general timeline of what's going on, I'm not totally sure of at this stage either. Like, some of these receipts that I was finding from that casino were over 3 weeks ago. Some of these crossed out appointments were from under 3 weeks ago. All of the meetings that she had were from after midday on various days. And then, I can't even remember. I feel like just an exact timeline of things happening over the last couple of weeks have been curious. One thing that did happen longer ago than a couple of weeks was her business moving into the 8th floor of 26 Grant Street, which could not be more suspicious. That's definitely my biggest mystery, is figuring out what's going on with 8th floor of 26th Streets. And then, who was dealing with Atlantiel? It felt like all of those sigils, more or less, were done by the same person. Which person was doing this? So, yeah, that's a decent chunk of questions that I've still got going on. Some feel easier to confirm than others.
True. Well, there's still plenty of people that you haven't talked to.
I think it might be time to start seeing people. Billy, I need to see other people.
Oh, no! Who would you like to see?
First off, I need to remember who they are because I've written down 2 names. And I know that they were both faintly related to things that I found in Victoria's appointment book, but I do not remember which is which. We've got Caleb Humble and we've got David Sargstad.
I can remind you that David Sargstad was one of her clients, who's been a recent client in the last year that she's been seeing. The only one who seems to still possibly be like local and easy to contact.
Great.
Caleb Humble is the business associate that Hayden Flincham doesn't really like, that she's been having regular meetings with, but not a direct client. Would you like to try and find one of them?
Let's go with Caleb first. Because someone like that, he doesn't sound like he'd be good at keeping things to himself.
Fair.
But before I do, you got to trust someone in this game, and I'm going to choose Hayden. If it's him, if he's the murderer, I'll find out anyway. It doesn't matter.
Sure.
But for now, I'm going to tell him that I trust him wholeheartedly.
Okay.
And because of that, he's in.
Oh, all right. Thank you so much for including me in your investigations.
All right, you got to do something. Are you ready for some potential danger?
Danger? How dangerous are we talking here?
I have no idea.
Oh, all right. Well, then I don't know whether I'm in for it.
Everything will be in public, if that helps.
I suppose, yes.
No shady rooms. No midnight skullduggery.
True, but being shot to death in public is just as bad as being shot to death under cover of night.
Yeah, but what are the odds of that happening?
Well, I don't know. You haven't told me what I need to do yet.
This would be the moment in the detective stories where it cuts to the next scene. So you don't hear my explanation for this.
Yes, but in this case, I need to know what you want me to do.
I'll tell you. And then Bill will have the prerogative of whether or not to creatively edit or to keep it as it is.
All right, we'll find out.
Hey, man.
Yes? All right. So, Dani, having set up your mysterious plan...
I would like to arrange a very public outdoor cafe meeting with this Caleb Humble.
All right. A few hours later, you meet at a local cafe called...
Cafe L'Amour. It was the only one available on such short notice.
I was going to say the Bean Counter Cafe. Because they're like money men, but they're beans. Coffee beans. I don't mind it.
Sure.
You're meeting at the Bean Counter Cafe. Your first impression of Caleb is that he's a rather unpleasant older man.
Mm-hmm.
He is wearing a fancy suit. Again, not one that you could identify from a
certainly
footage,
not. I'm still
but
me.
Definitely of the type that is expensive and nice. He's sitting reading the Financial Times,
Ugh.
and as you approach, he folds. I don't know if you can fold a Financial Times. I think you can. I think that's a newspaper. He folds it. He puts it down, and he looks at you and he says, "Well, what is this about?"
I show him, I pull out the license, the driver's license, but I cover Victoria's name on it. And I just show him the picture. I say, "Do you know this woman?"
Yes, I do. That's Victoria Buckland.
Okay, fine. Just in case.
Why do you have her license?
Oh, I've got a lot more than that, my friend. I'm with the police.
I assumed. Otherwise, I'd be much more concerned that you had her license.
Then you can probably guess.
Has something happened to Victoria?
Very much so. And I need to find out about all of her recent acquaintances, meetings, movements, because it's all very scrambled right now.
I mean, I know her, of course. Is she missing? What's happened?
You don't need to know the details. You need to give me details. So how do you know her?
We are associates. We discuss business. I give advice. People say I give the
Paid
greatest
advice, or
Sorry?
like, does she pay for these consultations?
Oh
or...
no! It's a mutual friendship where we support each other.
I see.
Hmm.
How long have you known each other?
I've known her since she was a young girl.
Right.
I would say 22 years. I've known her. Wait, hold on. She wouldn't be a young girl. She was in her 40s.
Yep.
I've known her for 34 years.
Okay.
I knew her father, you see.
Oh, was he in the same business?
No, not the same business, but he was a businessman, I suppose. And really, at a high level, you understand that all business is the same business. The business of making money.
Generic business man. Gotcha. Anyway, when was the last time you saw her?
Well, I usually see her every few weeks. Although our last appointment was cancelled, I'm not quite sure. She just didn't show. I got a call from her assistant saying that she was busy. But to be honest, I don't mind that much.
Oh, no?
Look, she's a fine woman, Victoria, but sometimes, she needs a helping hand. I think sometimes she's in a bit over her head.
Oh, really?
Oh, yes. Sometimes responsibility gets given to people who aren't quite ready for it, and I think perhaps Victoria was one such case. But I give help where I can.
Huh.
That is my role, I suppose.
Was she given her position in her business? Was she wasn't the founder of it or anything? She was given it?
Oh, in her business? No, she founded that. That is her business.
Oh, you were talking about other things. Oh, was she overdoing it in other areas of her life?
Oh, you have no idea. Overdoing it is a understatement, I suppose. Doing it wrong might be correct. But look, this is a personal matter, not one, I'm sure not one that's of interest to the police.
You know what? Based on how frazzled reports seem to be so far, like I did see in her appointment book, things had been crossed out. Appointments had been cancelled last minute. That does sound like the life of someone who was a bit in over their head and who was not quite handling things at their best. So actually, the more information that you could give me on that side, probably the better.
So, sorry. Sorry, I was thinking of something else. What was your question? Anything that frightened her?
I hate that.
Frazzled her, you're saying?
I was saying she seemed... The way that, from what I've gathered, she's been acting seems like maybe something had frazzled her or just generally stressed her to a point of burnout. Can't really say at this point. So if you could lead me in a direction there.
Look, I can imagine she was stressed. She didn't listen to my advice, and neither did anybody else. I think she got herself into some hot water.
Ooh, wrong kind of people?
Oh, no, the right kind of people, the wrong kind of business acumen, I suppose. The people are all, in her life, I'm sure, are all right. I know many of them myself. The people are fine. They may have made some errors in judgment and put more trust into her than they should have. I warned them. They didn't listen to me. They don't. No one ever does.
Was this about gambling?
Gambling? Well, I suppose you could say that. All investments are a gamble of some kind.
So this is investments, so now it is about business.
Yes, it's about business, I suppose. Look, well, I don't know how much you know about Victoria, but due to some, recent networking opportunities, she seems to have taken on a lot of clients.
That is true. I've seen that.
Yes. And I don't think she could handle the stress of that. She seemed to be getting more and more desperate. I even heard from one of them, after he tried to take some money out, he was advised to wait. Now, he assures me that it was all a perfectly normal part of business, but I have seen this many times before. The advice to wait, I'm assuming, is because she had no money to give him to cash out of his investments. But of course, I point this out, and no one listens to old Caleb Humble. Perhaps I'm too humble. Maybe I should be more vociferous about my own abilities. But, look, this is just hearsay, but all I'm saying is maybe she was a little bit in over her head.
What was your advice when it came to bringing on a bunch of new clients? Drop some of them?
I mean, for her, she should take every client that she can, I suppose. I advise those clients that perhaps they couldn't really rely on her services, but they told me to, quote, shut up, Caleb. And so I did. I shut my mouth, and we'll see where it gets everybody, shall we? And maybe next time they'll rethink their thoughts.
Yeah, that's pretty strange. She hasn't been doing this for a small amount of time, but it's still a pretty small operation that she's got going on.
Yes.
I'm surprised that they were so adamant about it, about going to her.
Let's just say there was some other personal connections going on. I don't know if you've ever been in a business world, but networking is key.
Oh, I wish he hadn't said that.
What do you mean? You don't like networking being key?
No. You don't understand. I was about to enact part 2 of my amazing plans.
Oh, okay. What was part 2 of your amazing plan?
No, now I gotta see. How much should I drill down into this? How much should I try to make him give me something concrete in real human words? Versus how much should I take his let's just says and try to turn them into concrete stuff on my own later? Could go either way. I feel like it'll be funnier if I go off on my own and try to figure it out.
Yes, but I feel like you do this sometimes where you have some information, you're like, why did no one ever talk about this? And it's like, because you never brought it up to anybody. You never mentioned it ever again, and then it didn't come up.
I'm going to do it.
Okay, what's your plan?
Okay. I give a sigh, and I reach into my pocket for my phone to check the time. Put it back in my pocket and say, all right, look, thanks for everything. If you have anything more pertinent to tell me that could be related to this, especially about Victoria personally, because quite frankly, it'd be a big help in cases like this. The personal stuff is always more exciting than business stuff, especially in businesses like yours. Sorry, no offense. It's just really boring. But anyway, I hold out my hand to shake his hand goodbye.
He holds out his hand and shakes your hand.
Oh no, the key that I was holding in my sleeve falls out onto the table.
He looks down at the key.
I pick it back up slowly, put it in my pocket.
He reaches for your hand as you put it back. I would say the key is fairly distinctive in shape.
I was hoping so.
And he grabs it and he says, where did you get that key?
I inherited it.
No, you didn't. I believe you'll find that key belongs to me. I'd like to have it back.
Well, that's funny.
Was this Victoria's?
Well, you just said it was yours. How could it be Victoria's? That makes no sense.
It's both Victoria's and mine. All the keys are mine.
All the keys? I have no idea what you're talking
All
about.
the keys in the city belong to Caleb Humble, King of Keys. No. So you've been to the hall, I suppose.
I certainly have. Beautiful table, by the way. Yours? Also yours?
Yes. The table is mine and the hall is mine, and I don't want spare keys floating around. If this is Victoria's, well, it should go back to me, so...
Well, you'd think, but unfortunately, it's not going to make much of a difference. There's going to be an awful lot of people there that you didn't intend to be there right about now.
What do you mean?
I mean, it is currently swarming with police.
What? On what grounds? I see no warrant to investigate premises belonging to me.
Oh, no, it's not that kind of thing. This isn't some... What do you call it when it's a paperwork thing?
I don't know. I don't do paperwork. I have people for that.
You don't do paperwork?
I have people
What
for
is
that.
your job?
Oh, you'll see.
So what I mean, bureaucratic. This isn't some bureaucratic nonsense. This is significantly more real.
What do you mean?
This is violent acts being found inside.
It's a crime scene.
Oh boy, is it. How much human sacrifice normally goes on in there?
At human sacrifice, he looks fundamentally confused. His brow furrows. He looks at me and says, hell are they no human sacrifice takes place there. What? Oh. I understand. I've been through this with people before. It is a brotherhood of prosperity. It has ties, yes, to demons, but not like a... It's a metaphor. It's a metaphor. I don't understand. I've told this obsession with trying to find some easy way out. There is no easy way out. That's the point. When it says sacrifice the things you love, it doesn't mean to a demon. It means family takes away from a focus on business. If you want prosperity, you sacrifice. That's what it means. And no, there has been no human sacrifice on the grounds of the Brotherhood of Prosperity. Thank you very much. These rubes, ignorant rubes!
Well, then I think that you should have a chat with some of your brothers to make sure that they understand the fundamentals correctly.
I need to see what you're talking about. Suddenly, across the street, you see a man in a trench coat and a hat, a tall man. He walks slightly strangely, but a tall man anyway.
He doesn't walk much, right? He only walks a little bit.
He walks into view,
stops.
and then he stands perfectly still, much like he did on that footage in front of the ATM.
Exactly.
He stands conspicuously on the opposite side of the street. You place yourself conspicuously so that if Caleb looks at you, he'll see this behatted, betrenched coated man.
Mm-hmm.
And Caleb looks, and he looks slightly confused. And for a second, you hear him start to say, "How did she get me? Sorry. Let's.
Hey, you wanted to go somewhere, didn't you?
Yes. Let's go to the hall." He does look at the man a few times over his shoulder as he leaves. He says, "Can't believe I've been caught up in this ridiculous murder investigation. Of course, human sacrifice, a crime scene. Do you find Victoria there?"
Well, that's what we think.
And she's gone missing then? I don't understand how she's related here.
You don't understand? You just said that she used one of the keys to this. It seems like there's a pretty strong relation.
Yes.
Did you introduce her to this group?
No. Look. The Brotherhood, in general, is not a place for women. It's in the name, as I was quick to point out. This discussion is happening as you're walking to the Brotherhood.
Of course.
It is a brotherhood, a hood of brothers. But times change, they tell me. They say, "Caleb, times change. You should change with them." And I say, "Change? That's something that poor people deal with. I deal in bills and investments, you see." It's a joke about money. But fine, we change with the times. Victoria is a member of the Brotherhood. The first female member. I suppose if her father hadn't been the last president, then maybe we could have pushed this off until I was well in my grave so I didn't have to see something like this. Perversion of our history.
Mm-hmm.
But she's a member. She was, I suppose.
Oh, apparently we can't guarantee anything like that right now.
But as I've said, networking is important. And as the new president, well, networking worked out quite well for her.
Oh, wait, so she was not just made a member, she was made president?
Even wealthy men make mistakes sometimes. By all rights, it should have been me, but... Well, let's just say, some people don't appreciate the power of metaphor and they're looking for something more. Victoria embraced the more and seemed to bring a lot of excited people with her. And so, after some initial lucky success, they believed that what she said was correct, and that she knew a little bit more about this ancient tradition than me, an ancient man. So yes, she's been president for a year.
1 year.
Give or take.
The relationship between joining this place and getting new clients, those times seem to line up pretty closely. Did one lead to the other? I was sort of assuming that it was members of the Brotherhood that then began going to her. Was it actually the other way round, that she brought other people in?
No, your first thought. Once she joined the Brotherhood, we support each other. If we can help each other, we do. And she offered a service to the others, and they took her up on it.
So this would be part of why the others didn't listen to you when you advised them not to go to her, because they thought that something more petty like jealousy was behind it, as opposed to strong business acumen.
Exactly. They thought I was angry I hadn't been made president after 54 years of service. But no, it's business acumen. You don't invest your money in a person who burns a prayer before making an investment.
Yeah, it's hard to disagree with that.
Oh, well. You
One
should
would think.
tell that to the other brothers.
So one last question. You knew Victoria when she was young. You clearly knew her family. She had a sister, right?
Yes, Nicole.
You know her? She's still in town?
Yeah, she lives not far from here. A little bit out, in a small house.
Right. If I could have some details for finding her, that would be great, at the very least for notification purposes.
Oh, yes, I suppose you should. Both of Clive's children were... I've known them for a long time. Nicole's not as involved in the business side of the world, and the Brotherhood side seemed to show no interest in joining. But she's a good girl. Again, both Victoria and her sister are presumably similar in age and in their 40s.
Sure.
She is a good girl, and I suppose she should be told. I think I have her address. I can find it for you.
That'd be great.
You've been walking with Caleb as he's been walking you towards the Brotherhood building. Although you notice at some point he's turned around a few times, and you're coming back towards the Bean Counter Cafe.
Oh, how did that happen?
On the opposite side of the street.
What?
And you see the man in the coat and the hat is still waiting there.
Oh, God.
But Caleb starts to approach him.
I mean, is he trying to outpace me, or am I just going there too?
At this point, Caleb starts to speed up a little, as if he wants to outpace you, and approaches the man with the coat and the hat.
I would like to be within hearing range if possible.
Oh, you'll be within hearing range. As he approaches, you see him touch the man on the shoulder, and as the man turns, Caleb starts up, and he says, "Listen, I don't know what she told you. I'm not involved, and I take no responsibility for it. So if you need... Hayden?" And at this point, hat having fallen off as he turns, Hayden Flincham is revealed in his coat and hat.
Hayden, are you ready for some potential danger?
Danger?
I want you to get a trench coat and a hat.
Oh. And do what with it?
I want you to give me your number so that I can tell you a strategic time to walk past where I have my next meeting.
All right. I'll do it. I have one problem that I might bring up.
Yeah.
Based on my... from what I heard from Victoria,
yes,
she was talking about a tall, dark man.
I understand.
I have many things. Tall is not one of them.
Are you saying that you can't pretend to be tall?
I'll get some buckets, I suppose. All right.
Yeah, you don't even have to move very much. In fact, the more you stand perfectly still on the spot, the better.
All right, I'll do it.
All right.
This will help the case, right? It's not just a funny prank.
I mean, was the play in Hamlet a funny prank?
I've never seen it.
Was the play in The Affair at the Victory Ball a prank? Yeah, it turns out people do this with plays a lot.
Oh, that's true. All right, wonderful. I'll do it.
Turns out it makes murderers say, "Oh no, it was me all along."
I've always
Every
wanted
time.
a trench coat. All right, I'll see you there. Caleb says, "What? Hayden, what are you doing here?"
Hey, super dumb. Play super dumb right now.
And Hayden says, "Oh, I don't know. I've never been anywhere. Oh, who are you?"
Boy.
He looks at you with eyes that say, "Is this dumb enough?"
You know when a director says, "I'll tell you when to pull back." He's nailed it. That was really dumb, man.
Caleb looks confused. He says, "Hey, what are you wearing buckets on your feet?"
I grab Caleb by the shoulder and say, "Oh my God, I interviewed him. I told him about what happened to Victoria, and he took it hard. He took it real hard, man."
Oh, God. Look, Hayden, just pull yourself together, man. You should be above such emotional displays. All right. Look, this has all been a bit much. Detective, I will find you Nicole's address. I will send it to you. Hayden, take off the coat. Go home. And that's it. They're the only two people I have to address. All right. I'm going home.
Yeah, sorry, man. Apparently Victoria had mentioned something about a trench coat. last time Hayden saw her, and it was what he sort of fixated on.
Look, if you start to follow men in trench coats, be prepared. There are dangerous people in this city. I'm going to go home. I'll talk to you later, detective. And he leaves.
You won't talk to me again.
Never to be seen again.
That's on me, not him.
Thank you for listening to Solve This Murder. To submit your own guesses for whodunit, send an email to solvethismurderpod@gmail.com. We read every theory we're sent and award the greatest sleuth with a place on our wall of detectives. To support the show, you can sign up for our Patreon and receive weekly bonus episodes, monthly videos, and full access to all parts of new Solve This Murder mysteries on day one. Thanks to all our patrons for supporting us. Thanks to Advanced Sagebrush and Shootouts for our theme music. And thanks again to all of you for listening.